Did you start? Where did you get your introduction to social media?
I think the first thing I had was MySpace.
MySpace?
I want to say it was MySpace. Yeah, I was familiar. Well, I don't want to say familiar with. I heard about like the smaller. I guess you would call them competitors.
Yeah.
But MySpace was the very first social.
That's what you had
platform
heard about Friendster and shit.
Yeah, see, like I heard about
Tag.
Friendster, but I never had Friendster. I heard about Tag. I
Yeah.
heard about Black Planet. I never had those.
Mhm.
I may have started a Tag, maybe like create your profile type shit.
Yeah.
But then never fucked with
You
it.
remember-
It wasn't nothing that caught my attention. Wasn't it like yellow or something like that? Yellow and white Tag? Something like that? Yeah. So
I ain't had one.
Facebook was not Facebook.
MySpace.
MySpace was my very first introduction to it.
What made you get a MySpace?
What made me get a MySpace?
Do you remember?
I
Can you
think it
recall?
was just society. My peers, everybody else having one. That's how you staying connected, I guess, in a way.
Right.
And then it was kind of cool with the whole. You get to design the backgrounds and add music to it. You had like
Yeah.
your top 5, top 7, top 10, whatever, all your homies, and that's how you dictate who was real friends or not. Like, if I ain't fucking with you for real,
I remember
I'm about
that.
to bump you off the list type
Yeah,
shit. Like,
yeah.
that was
Hey,
important.
It used to get real.
That shit
Used
was
to get
important.
real
So,
fast.
of course, I had to be a part of that.
Hey,
that was important.
I got friends to this day that was in my top
Bro,
8, guys.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
To this day, because it was
that,
real.
And that was a real fucking decision.
Oh, God.
Like, damn, I mean, I fuck with you, but I kind of want to put this person number 1 type shit and put you number 2. Like,
Right.
even that was a big decision, bro.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
I remember, too.
I didn't fuck with Twitter until we graduated.
After 2009?
If I look at my page, I probably started it in like 2010, 2009, 2010, something like that.
Yeah.
I was late. I'm always late on the bandwagon, though, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Like if it's a hot new Netflix show that everybody going crazy over, I won't watch that shit until like 3 months.
But hold
down the
on,
line.
let me back up because you had a Facebook before Twitter.
I had a Facebook before Twitter, but
Why'd you
even
go to Facebook?
It's the same thing. It was the next in
Everybody
chain of
else was
command.
getting one.
But I was even late to that. Because at one point in time, Facebook was looked at as something for the older people.
Yeah.
Well, if you
I
fucking
remember
around
that.
on Facebook for real, like you old. That's why our grandma and our parents was on Facebook.
I think that's how it's looked at right now.
That's when we okay, maybe so, but we the older people now. Maybe so, but that was the first
I
place
think so.
where, like with MySpace, we were integrated with our peers.
Yeah.
Only people who rocked with my MySpace was the people who I rocked with.
Right.
When we got to the Facebook platform, that was the first platform we was really integrated with our elders for real.
Yeah, and they could see
if you
everything we was
exactly.
doing.
So if you was on Facebook, it was kind of like, oh, this the older people website,
Yeah.
So I was kind
remember
of late
that.
to that train too.
I remember that, but you did end up getting
I did
one.
end
You
up
remember
getting
what
it.
grade?
Facebook, I did shit. Probably 2009.
Senior?
Bro, I'm gonna tell you this. I ain't no hardcore gangster, no shit like that.
Right.
But while y'all was in school, on MySpace and Facebook and shit, I was in the streets making bad decisions. So Facebook and shit like that wasn't as important.
Okay. So then after Facebook, it was Twitter. You mentioned getting on Twitter after you graduated. After that point, what made you get on Twitter?
Let's be honest. So it was this. So I fucked with Twitter, but I wasn't heavy on it. Like always updating with you. I just created Twitter because whatever.
Yeah.
And I wasn't one to always be typing whatever. But at Sam Houston, my brother and they went to Sam Houston, and it was this thing that it was like a big party scene. Especially early on, you just not getting into college, whatnot. Big party scene. And it was these chicks who did something called the twerk team or something like that. It was
I remember
twerking
twerk
just
team.
started.
Yeah.
With Miranda. And,
I didn't know none of the chicks,
Okay.
but they used to wobble that.
right. So that's what made me start fucking with Twitter. Because they would do it every Friday on Facebook and Twitter.
Okay.
And everybody that rocked with this group of people would be on Twitter talking
Logged
about
in.
it, whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, shit, this is my introduction to Twitter. For real.
That's how it started for you.
That's how it started for me.
Did you keep fucking with Twitter after that point? Like what you
I
end up
always
using
had a
it for?
Twitter. Like I'm still logged in on Twitter, but I hardly ever tweet.
Right.
But I just it's the engagement. Like just getting on that mud to say anything, and then walking away from it, no engagement, no real intent, is purposeless to me. So every now I use it for I get all my sports news from Twitter. So like I'm following Ian Rappaport, stuff like that. So when news break, then
you can get some exclusive shit that.
Yeah, but other just me tweeting and whatnot.
Adrian Wojnarowski, Woj bombs and shit.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But me just tweeting, nah, I don't be on Twitter like that.
Instagram, you still got Instagram to this day, right?
I still use Instagram to this day. I use business now. I got personal Instagram that I use but don't use. Like if you go to my Instagram, you'll see that there's pictures from like this year, but it may be the last time I posted was 3 months ago.
Right.
I may go watch stories or something like that. I'm not big on posting myself all the time.
Yeah.
So it'll be more me watching stories or just seeing what the outside world is doing as opposed to me putting something out there for real. I'm not big on like recording everyday life and all of that stuff. Let me take a picture of my plate before I eat, stuff like that. So it's not that many posts like talking about for real, but I rock with it though.
Okay.
I rock with it, especially for business purposes.
Okay, so after Instagram, I want to say the most popular site after that was Snapchat. Did you ever fuck with Snapchat?
I like Snapchat. Snapchat is wild.
Snapchat was about short videos.
Snapchat is a wild place to be, my G.
Why you say that?
It's a little bit. Snapchat is damn near like the social media black market.
You think so?
I know so. Snapchat is the social media's black market for real. So
anything outside of those,
you can get or see or participate in anything on Snapchat. Like it's like no boundaries. You know, you got like you have people go to Facebook jail. You can get banned off Twitter. You get banned off Instagram. All this stuff, all these limitations that all these other social media platforms have. Snapchat has no boundaries for real.
So when you went to Snapchat, what exactly did you go for?
The more instant Instagram. It was initially like the more instant Instagram,
and it would go away.
It was quicker, and it would go away. It would go away.
I think that was a big pull,
but it wasn't permanent.
I think that was a big pull for him. Anything outside of the ones we talked about that you messed with, as far as the social media platforms?
No, not really. I didn't mess with. I mean, you know, later on, like more recent times,
Boys didn't dabble.
No, not really. I've done dating apps.
Okay.
I've used dating apps, so like Tinders and shit like that. I've fucked around with.
Yeah.
But other social media platforms, no, not really. After that, it was nowhere to go. I mean, recently we got what was that? Clubhouse. That we got Clubhouse. We recently got Clubhouse, and that's more of the get invited type thing. Facebook is everything. It got video. It got pictures. It got statuses. It got the short reels. Why do I need 9 different apps to do the same exact thing? And then I'm gonna have you as my friend on Facebook. And I'm gonna go add you as my friend on Instagram. Then I'm gonna add you on my friend on Twitter. I stick to Facebook, G.
No, like I be feeling the same way, but my journey was a bit different. I started on MySpace too, just like you. But like I started with at the time I made my MySpace, I was a young rapper. I started with my music on there, and
a lot of rappers started with that.
Yeah, I got MySpace for that reason, because I wanted to be able to reach more people with my music than I could actually reach by meeting them one-on-one. You know what I'm saying?
Heard.
It was young network, and I was a teenager at the time, but I do remember learning the game of MySpace before everything else came out. MySpace was simple. You know what I mean?
MySpace was very simple.
I made a real popular profile that I remember. Like it was real cool, because I used to get people that I didn't know that knew me out in fucking public and shit.
So
just because I had figured that shit out.
You said MySpace was like a form of networking. Were you truly in that MySpace when you got on MySpace? Like, of course, in hindsight, everything is 2020. Of course, MySpace was networking.
Did I get on it for that reason specifically?
Specifically networking back then. Like, I'm about to use this to network, to push this product to, like,
I wasn't smart enough to do that. Okay. When I was at that age, I'm talking like 14. At that age, I knew that there was only so many people I could walk up to and hand the CD. It was only so many people I could do that to, right? I knew on MySpace, I could reach an infinite amount of people. And so I knew like I went and added. I started just adding friends and shit. I got to a point where I was shuffling my top 8. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I would let people who didn't think we was that cool be in my top 8 for a couple of weeks, and it would change our relationship. You know what I mean? Like,
because that shit was important.
They became fans all of a sudden.
It was important, yeah.
Yeah, because that shit was like status. Niggas love being top 8.
Nah, that's a fact.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
I was on AOL too. Like, it's not necessarily it's not really giving credit with being one of the origins of social media. Mm-hmm. But I remember back in the day, I lived in Katy. And I remember I stayed in Katy for like 3 years, and one of the main ways we stayed in touch with each other was on AOL Instant Messenger, on AIM.
Of course I'm familiar with it, but I never used it.
I was late to the game, yo. I found out like a semester after everybody had already been doing it that everybody was on AIM. Anybody I asked, they had a screen name. And you just add them. I get home from school and got the whole list of every damn body I know, people I don't know, but they on there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I even met people that went to the same school that I would have never walked up to and met personally. I met because we had a conversation on AIM. So now,
See, my peers wasn't even on it like that. Like my immediately. No, we was outside. I don't mean like today's version of outside. Like we were literally outside.
I was outside before that point. This is, and still at that point, because I remember linking up with them every Friday night. We linked up at Katy Mills Mall. I'm talking me, my boy Quentin, my homegirl Carrie. Like we used to link up at Katy Mills Mall damn near every Friday, and that was.
And y'all built the relationship off of.
Well, not just. I'm just saying we was in addition to being on AOL. That's how we knew who was gonna be there. Yeah. We knew classmates was gonna be there because they told us on that.
Gotcha.
But like even while being on that, we was outside too. You know what I mean? It was still. It didn't get to the point where today people lose their interpersonal skills. Back then, we still knew how to talk to each other.
That was the beginning of losing your interpersonal skills. For real.
Yeah, we can mark that as the origin of that shit too.
Yeah.
But I was on MySpace and AIM at the same time. I remember you used to get this feeling when you log on to MySpace and you got new messages, new notification, and it'd be like,
that's a fact. And you sit on that shit for hours.
Yeah.
Like 8 hours the way that people sit in front of video games now.
Yeah.
We used to sit in front of the fucking computer on MySpace.
Exactly, man.
3:00 in the morning, eyes burning like a motherfucker.
Niggas
trying to
never know.
Make a background.
Exactly. So I remember when I jumped from MySpace to Facebook, I didn't actually move like all together from MySpace to Facebook. I was dating this girl who kind of convinced me to go on to Facebook.
Okay.
But she was kind of slick. She convinced me she would make it for me, and she held on to my password for like years after that shit. And it was like it was some crazy ass shit.
Over on you, bro.
Yeah, like it was wild. But also in hindsight, I was wild for allowing that shit. But I ended up, I had a Facebook because the girl I was dating at the time made one for me. And ultimately, I'm not sure, I remember agreeing to it, but I'm not sure I actually wanted a Facebook for anything in particular. Yeah. That's just what was hot at the time. And you know how kids are, right? Yeah. That's just what was hot. So, honestly, I use Facebook now more than I did back then.
That's a fact.
No, just like you said, it was mostly about older folks. You know what I'm saying?
You didn't want to see you didn't want your parents and shit to see what you.
Because we was talking crazy,
some wild shit.
When I look at my tweets and shit from way back then,
I'm embarrassed of that shit. I be looking at that shit like, bro, how do I get Facebook to stop sending me this shit?
Like,
I don't want to see this, bro.
Before 2012, like,
can other people see your memories without you sharing it?
I don't think so.
Like, can I go to your page and see your memories?
I don't know, but if it's on the internet, it's there, and somebody can see that shit.
Bro, my memories. First of all, I'm a simp. I'll start there. I'm a simp. I love. I want to be in a relationship, all that shit. So my motherfucking past.
Yeah.
Nah, bro.
I used to talk crazy as hell sometimes. Like, I look at that shit and be disgusted. Like, who is this guy?
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you.
You know what I'm saying?
Me too. I get that same feeling every time.
And so I'm gonna say from I was on Facebook, but I was still on MySpace. Eventually, people just hopped off of MySpace, like just stopped doing it and started doing Facebook. I don't remember when that was. I want to say it was like 2 years later, maybe 2006, 2007 is when I wasn't really on MySpace no more, and it was mostly just Facebook. But around that time, 2007, Twitter came up. And when Twitter came up, I fucked with it hard. Like, for a while, I didn't understand it. But we was sitting at my grandmother's house. Wow. Yo, we was in the hood one day, sitting at my grandmother's house. We was outside smoking, and it was like 5 of us outside. Just decided, like, we finna try this shit. See what's to it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I remember starting Twitter like in 2007, maybe closer to 2008, because it was close to when I graduated. Before I graduated, I got on Twitter with a couple other people that was in the hood. I remember D'Amica, my sister, my brother, Nick Ferris. I'm talking like people that was in the hood pretty much, right. Just keeping that up with each other. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It had to only be like 5 of us. Then we convinced other people in the hood to get it.
Start doing it too.
Yeah, and it became like closer to 11 of us.
Right.
And so it was real cool. Of course, we found other people on through the network that we didn't really know like that we got to know. But we grew our networks. It was mostly at before I went to college, it was 11 of us pretty much. Then I went to college, and Twitter went from like not so much of a focus to everything niggas was doing. Mm-hmm. When I got to U of H, the only way to know what niggas had going on was to look on Twitter. You could see everything. I'm talking, you can see what people doing. You can see where they at when they
on Twitter.
Because people used to sit there and every fucking thing they did, they tweeted.
They tweeted. Yeah, that makes sense.
Every fucking thing they did, they tweeted it. So I knew when niggas was at the rec center hooping. I knew when to get up and go throw some shorts on and go. Right. I knew when it was females in the calf just sitting there posting. So I know they in their phones. They ain't talking to each other. Mm-hmm. So I might pull up. I know when it's a step show or a random Greek party on campus. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, It would Twitter was the be all know all like on campus. Yeah, like for sure. It was the biggest platform on campus was Twitter. So that's how you knew what everybody was doing. Then Instagram. Around the time I left school, Instagram was becoming hot, and I wasn't big on pictures and shit. So Instagram is one I was kind of late to. Like, I moved to Instagram. I got one when everybody was getting one, but it took me a long time to really figure out Instagram. Yeah. Because number one, I don't consider myself photogenic. Okay. I came before they started even doing filters. Like, I'm just taking pictures, and I ain't finna post this shit. I don't like this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I've always been like that. Like, but I know, like, I got angles. You know what I mean? I think I understood that when I was young. Yo, I got angles, yo. Maybe this one don't look good, but if I take 20 of these, you know what I'm saying? I might find one to post.
What's crazy is, if you taking a picture of yourself, everybody is looking for that angle. Guy or female. It's just women accentuated, like angle. You never hear a guy say it. That's why.
Funny. They eventually introduced filters, and filters is really what changed the game. It wasn't angles, it wasn't pictures at all. It was filters. Being able to turn somebody that wasn't photogenic into a person that was photogenic. And I'm gonna say maybe I started using it a little more so when I could hide my flaws. That's when I became an avid user. Eventually, I got into business and shit. But Instagram, it was real easy to just see the world for exactly what it fucking wasn't. You can sit there and see the best versions of everybody, the baddest females, people you know got shit that you ain't never seen them with.
That's a fire ass way to put it. Seeing the world for what it is.
Exactly really what it ain't, yo. That's what Instagram was. Instagram was a perfect place to sell you a facade. Mm-hmm. Well, I think we woke now. A lot of us, especially our generation, we kind of know it sold us a facade.